What's up, guys? Army-Firedawg is back again, and today I actually have the review time of the SPL Audio, their Phonitor E. They have two models in their Professional Fidelity series. This is their younger brother, the E. Their flagship version is the X model. This guy right here, actually we'll thank another headfire who actually invited me to the tour, whose name is Grizzly Beast. He actually set up a tour and reached out to me and asking if I would be interested in taking part. Without his tour, I likely would never be able to hear this really nice solid state amp, and I'm very appreciative. But with the pleasantries aside, let's just move on down to the actual review, shall we? And yes, I am sitting in my floor. My wife's doing homework in the other room. Almost got my office squared away. Judging by my current speed of getting this thing, probably another week or so, but doing the best I can. Just bear with me a bit longer. Anywho's, so starting with the construction. The construction, as you can see, is very, very nice. It's all aluminum built from the front, sides, back, bottom, everything. It's all aluminum, which goes a long way. It looks very, very nice, and it is to be expected of a product of this price point, which is $1,500. Now, on that note, I do have to put a disclaimer-ish, is I do not know, because I have personally been unable to find what this amp costs with or even without the DAC. The only price point I see is the $14.99.99 off of their website and other similar websites who offer this product, and it just keeps saying can include an integrated DAC. So how much will it cost to get that DAC inside of this? Or does that $1,500 come with this DAC? I don't know. I have been unable to find that answer. I don't know if it comes with it in the $1,500. Nor do I know if it comes without it, and I don't even know how much it would cost to put the DAC inside. I don't know. So for this review, I'm assuming that the $1,500 price point is including the built-in DAC, because the pictures from the website have all the digital input options on the back on it. So I'm going to go on that assumption. Now, how much cheaper it makes it if you decline the DAC, again, I don't know. Now, continuing on. The bottom of the amp has some really nice vibration absorbers. On the bottom, it keeps a very low profile, but it does a very, very nice job of keeping the amp itself from feeling any vibrations and translating that into the music. Now, granted, my personal setup, I don't have that great. I still have all these cords sitting here that can still get some microphonics from brushing against stuff, but it's the best I can do under the current setup I have. But now going over it from left to right, you have your volume knob, which is very, very nice. It doesn't move at all. It's buttery smooth on its turn. You have your matrix switch, which I will get into more in the very next section, which is the features. You have your input selection. You have your analog input, and then you have your digital. So if you have your DAC, if you have the built-in DAC, you could use the analog input. Otherwise, you'll have to use the digital. Moving over, you have your 4-pin XLR balanced output, and then your 1/4-inch jack balanced output, and then finally you have your standby switch. Not the power switch, even though it says, has the on and then the power icon. This turns it into standby. The actual power switch is on the back, which, as you can see from the pictures here in front, and again, moving from left to right, you have your 115 volt, or available 230 volt if you select it. Power input, the actual power switch. You have the IR-PGM valve, which I will discuss in the feature setting as well. You have your analog inputs, which is your RCA, obviously as you can see, and then 2 3-pin XLR balanced inputs. And then finally on the far right you have your digital inputs, which is your coax, optical, and USB. Very normal, as you would expect to see off of any amp, or combi unit in this case, that has that available options. Nothing really stood out, but everything was to be expected. Moving on to the features, as I said, it comes with this matrix switch, and what that does is the Phonitor E by default places the speakers as if it was at a 30-degree pattern coming from your headphone, which is the ideal setting. When people set up speakers, 30 degrees is recognized as like the ideal speaker range. If you can change that. Now, again, to disclaim, my personal ears, I could make no discernible difference between C1 and off. C2 sounded as if the speakers were a little bit narrower, because I couldn't hear anything from here back, or excuse me, I couldn't hear as much from like my side of my ears back. It just kind of whooshed forward, if that makes sense. But from the off and C1 setting, I personally could make no difference out to B. The next feature I was going to get into is the IR remote, which is right here. It's very simple to program, well, according to their video and instruction manual. All you have to do is you hit the button on the back. Remember the PGR button I told you, just press it once. And that will cause the volume knob, if done correctly, to go all the way to the low position. Unfortunately, I could not get it to work more than once. Now, also to disclaim, I was using my phone, the LG V20, and its included Universal Remote app. So whether or not that had anything to do with it, I don't know, but I only got it to go into learn mode once, and that was it. I could never get it to actually learn the volumes. So theoretically, it's very easy to do, but for me, I could not get it. Now, I used a phone and not a true universal remote. But anywho, once you select it, it would go all the way down. You would select the volume down button, or whichever button you would want to use as the volume down for this, and you would select that. Afterwards, and you would keep pressing that button until this button would flash a couple times, about 3 times. You would press the PGR button again, and then you would then do the same for the button you would want to be the volume up button. Mostly would be volume, but it's whichever other button you normally use on your universal remote. So very simple in theory, but that is a feature that is really cool. Now I did have it go into learn mode, and the volume knob is actually motorized. So if you were to press volume down or up, the volume knob would actually move up or down depending on what volume selection you set. So moving down to the sound, how does the Phonitor E sound? Well, it sounds honestly what you would expect a $1,500 amp DAC combi unit to sound. The music is very, very clean. It's as fast as I would expect a top tier solid state amp to be. The detail retrieval from the amp from the built-in DAC is very, very nice. It's right on par with that of my Bifrost 4490. Really the only discernible difference I could make out personally, again, take it with a grain of salt, I did my best to A-B as fast as I could. The only main discernible difference I could make is that the separation on the Bifrost was a little bit better, as in, for example, I was listening to Daft Punk by the Pentatonics, and a couple other ones, that's just the most recent one. And I could separate the voices better on the Bifrost than that I could of the SPL. Again, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know how much the DAC costs, either to have it included or to have it upgraded, or how much it would save if it came with it and you decided not to have the DAC. I don't know how much that would take off. I don't know. So, assuming that, or taking the built-in DAC into account, not one time when I was listening to music did my ears ever get fatigued. Not once. I listened to it for as long as I could with what time I had available to listen to it. I spent hours on this thing, and I just truly enjoyed the music. It was very soft. It was a very elegant presentation. It wasn't a warm, it wasn't a relaxing one. It was just a very accurate, very detailed experience. Not once did I feel that there's some details missing from my music, which is a very, very high note. But to conclude, I know I don't know if it's going to be a short review or not, but the SPL Phonitor E it's what I would expect of an amp to be of this caliber. It didn't really super impress me, nor did it really disappoint me. It's what I expected of a product of this caliber and price. It's built very nice. It's very, very straightforward. You just plug and play. You don't even have to touch any of this. Once you get these two set up, what inputs you want, that's it. You can just plug and play and enjoy the solid state. Power is It's wonderful. It powered the Audio-Technica ATH W5000s, which has been shown to be a very nitpicky headphone. It needs it pairs very well with other products than not. For example, the W5000 paired with the Phonitor E, much better than that of my Shitlier. Doesn't really pair too well with the Shitlier. I don't know if it's a tube amp solid state thing, because it did something similar with the iFi iCan Pro on solid state mode versus tube amp. It paired much better in the solid state, but it is what it is. But guys, if you have any further questions or think there's something I may have missed, like I said, it's a very cut and dry amp. I mean, it has a job, and it does it what you would expect a product of this price point to be. But again, if you have any questions, please hit me up. I would do my best to clarify something you felt I missed. Or if you have any questions on something else I reviewed, or something you'd like me to take interest in the future, please hit me up in the comments below. It takes me a little bit longer to get to you than where I normally would be, but I have just under 2 months left, and you'll see my activity pick back up to how it used to be. But guys, as always, my name is Army-Firedawg. It has truly been a pleasure, but most importantly, my friends, and please I ask, stay safe.